Hey, good morning. Thanks for streaming with us. We really appreciate it. Yeah, Alberto, we finally have Tropical Storm Alberto, the first named storm of the hurricane season in the western portions of the Gulf of Mexico. I'll tell you what that means for us coming up here in just a minute. One thing is for sure, Alberto has brought us cloudy skies today, and we're going to catch a break from the heat, which is definitely a good thing. But I do think some heavier rain is on the way. I'll show you the radar here in just a second. All right. Again, we appreciate you streaming with us. We do have a flash flood watch, not including Bexar County. It's primarily from I-10 and Highway 90 and southward. Some of the further, the general rule of thumb, the further to the south and east and the further to the south you are, the heavier the rain is going to be and the heavier rain totals. Of course, with tropical systems, it all depends on the banding as well. And tomorrow, I think that's going to be pretty important, the banding there. Okay, so next 48 hours, we're going to have some tropical downpours. I think this afternoon and this evening and tonight, we will have some downpours from time to time. Tomorrow, we may catch a break from the rain, but in the afternoon, as soon as we warm up, we're going to have some tropical downpours. And then on Friday, I think the same thing. In the afternoon, we'll see some more downpours. Sunday through Tuesday, maximum heat index will be 101 to 105. It's going to start to get hot again, and you know it's summertime here in South Texas, so you know that is going to happen. All right, temperature outside right now is 80 degrees. The normal low is 73. Our low this morning was 76. And here's the good news. You'll love this. We're not going to hit a record high of 105 back in 2023. All right, temperatures, this is what you can expect. We're going to be kind of stuck in the upper 70s to lower 80s, I think, for the rest of the day today. All right, and as we go through the day, the rain chances will be on the increase. So let's take a look at the radar here. First of all, it's going to be a little busy. You know what I can do? Maybe I can do this real quick. We'll do that. Yeah, there we go. All right, so that's our flash flood watch area. Notice it's just to the south of San Antonio from Gonzales County, Lavaca counties, and back towards Maverick County, and then southward from there. Where you see the red, that is a tropical storm warning. I've already seen some gusts along the upper Texas coast, up to about 40 miles per hour. I've seen some other wind gusts pretty close to Corpus Christi at about 40 miles per hour. And this is really interesting. I don't know if I can zoom in here. Yeah, there we go. Oh, come on, let's go. You know, this is really interesting, and this is one thing that I've noticed, because I've been in about 5 hurricanes, is even though the rainfall intensity is very heavy, you don't have as many lightning strikes. I mean, look at this whole area, and you've got just a few lightning strikes, like about 80 miles southeast of Corpus Christi, a few right along the coast. And the main reason for that is this is tropical systems are warm core systems, and so you don't have as much ice production, and it's the difference between those ice particles and the big raindrops that cause the lightning strikes, and so you just don't see as much of that. All right, here's the latest radar, and this is a broad circulation from Alberto. I mean, really broad. Now, I will say this. Alberto is really starting to get its act together. Matter of fact, here in the Bay of Campeche, I don't know if you can make it out, but close to the center of circulation, starting to see some real wraparound. So Alberto is running out of time. I think it's going to make landfall tomorrow morning, but may become a little bit stronger tropical storm. It's just now starting to really act up. Now, because this has been a broad circulation, it's affecting Texas in a great way there. If this was this was a real strong hurricane, our impacts would be even less here across South Texas. But because this is a weak tropical storm, we've got some rain chances, and some of the rain is going to be heavy. Okay, one thing also as well with a tropical system like this, the rain intensity, you see the yellows and the reds, they tend to lose intensity as they move on shore, and the aerial coverage tends to weaken a bit as well. That's generally the case. But you can see, I mean, holding together pretty good around Houston and making this way onto Corpus Christi there. And the rain shield is slowly but surely moving closer and closer to San Antonio. And I do think, let's see, what is this? At least by early afternoon, we're going to have some rain, and it's going to be moderate for a good part of the day, but every once in a while we'll increase the intensity, and the heaviest rainfall will be down towards the south. All right, let me show you this. So far, this is just 12 hours. This is unofficial. This is just radar estimates. And by the way, the radars sometimes underestimate the rainfall because the air mass is so tropical. I believe the precipitable water, which I know doesn't mean a whole lot to you, but the precipitable water amounts are way above where they really normally would be. This time of the year, about 1.5 inches precipitable water. With this, it's about 2.5, 2.7. So there's a lot of moisture to work with. So already seen about 2.5 inches outside of Corpus Christi and about 2 inches there. What would that be? It's way south of Sugar Land. I'm not really, can't give you real, like south of Houston, about 50 miles or so, about 2 inches already. Also, there have been some wind reports, like I was saying earlier, 40-mile-per-hour wind gust, and also near Corpus Christi, there's been a 2-foot storm surge. I know that, I mean, this is just a tropical storm, but there is a little bit of a storm surge. They've had an inundation of 2 feet, 2.5 foot to be exact, way down there to the south. Let me see if I can zoom in, I'll show you. Yeah, right here, we're getting a couple of reports. Let's see. There's Corpus Christi. So there's North Padre Island right here with 2.5 feet. And I guess that would be pretty close to Port A. With about 2.5 feet there. And you can see those heavy streaks of rainfall just offshore. Okay, so current temperature outside, let me see if I can load this up again. Current temperature is, I believe it's 80. Yeah, right at 80 degrees. And I think that's exactly where we're going to be. Notice where the rain shield is, over towards Gonzales and Hallettsville. It's 78, 79 degrees. And we're catching, one thing that's great about today is we're catching a break from the heat, but Carrizo Springs still in the mid 80s and Del Rio in the mid 80s as well at about 84. Oh, hey, we've got a lot of comments here. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to do that. Let's see. Hey, Mike, light rain for the west side. Yeah, light rain initially, but you will have some heavy downpours on the west side. And how about Uvalde? Okay, here, general rule of thumb, the further to the north and west and the further to the west, your rain total should be lighter. Now, one thing to look out for, let's say from Del Rio to Uvalde to Carrizo Springs, tomorrow, not necessarily today, but tomorrow as Alberto continues to move inland into far south Mexico there, or into Mexico, I should say, there's going to be some bands. And I can't tell you exactly where those bands are. If you're outside of the band, you may not pick up a whole lot, but if you're inside that band and it just rains and rains and rains, you know how these tropical systems can be, then the rain totals will add up. And I think that's one thing we're going to be watching for tonight, especially into tomorrow and tomorrow afternoon. Lauren, how about Canyon Lake? Canyon Lake, here's the deal. Further to the north, the lighter amounts. I'm going to go with about 1.5 inches still to 2 inches, or let's say 1 to 2 here in Bexar County. I would say there in northern Comal County, you could probably reduce that in half, maybe 3/4 of an inch, maybe 1.25 inches there in Canyon Lake. And we do appreciate you watching from Canyon Lake. And boy, does Canyon Lake, do they need the rainfall, right? And let's see, Kimberly, you are so welcome. Thank you for streaming with us. And any heavy rain on the north side, definitely could be some heavy rain, especially later on this afternoon, late this afternoon, especially tonight, I think. And Susan, the great question. Susan says, how about hail? Since this is a warm core system with these tropical systems, tropical depressions, storms, hurricanes, there's not as much ice production, and the temperatures are warmer in the mid levels of the atmosphere, and there's no dry air. Usually for hail, you need dry air and cool, and this is the opposite. So yeah, no hail. Don't worry about that. Let's see. Oh, hey, Gabriella, I love you. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Castle Hill, same thing. Intensity is going to increase, and it will get heavy again tonight. And Sarah, oh, you're welcome, Sarah. Sometimes on these, I get a little bit too detailed. Hopefully, I'm not getting too detailed for you. Laredo, you're going to be in the zone, Kaiser. You're going to be in the zone. You could pick up some big, heavy amounts. Now, I would say generally, let's say 2 to 4, 3 to 5, somewhere around there, but could have even heavier amounts there in Laredo. You're closer to where I think the action is going to be. And Port Aransas, just a little bit of some water coming on shore there on Port Aransas. I don't think it's going to cause major flooding, but I've already seen some video. What was that? The art museum in Corpus Christi, and some water coming on shore there. And winds in Port Aransas are definitely going to gust to 40 miles an hour, maybe 45. And some very heavy rain there in Port Aransas. How about Kinney County out there in Brackettville? I think for the most part, lighter amounts, like 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch, I know. But You may get lucky and get one of those bands and pick up a little bit more rain than that. And let's see, I'm running out of time here, guys. Let's see, plan on driving I-35 from San Antonio to Dallas overnight. Ooh, no, see, and here's the deal, Tracy. No major storms, just some heavy downpours. And the further that you drive to Dallas, the less you're going to see of that. So be safe out there on the road. And let's see, my plants need some rainwater. Veronica, so do mine. I definitely agree with you. And sorry I can't get to all of these, but man, I really appreciate you guys. Okay, how's Shannon? I'll go back to San Antonio here in just a minute. And okay. Hey, we really appreciate it. Boy, thanks guys for being on here. Okay, let me give you the kind of the overall picture because I've got to get going here. Okay, the overall pattern. The reason that Alberto is going into Mexico is a lot. See that big orange area over there around New York and Virginia? Okay, that is going to expand back into Texas, and our weekend is going to be hot, but notice how it's just driving it west. Okay, there's going to be another system that comes out of the Yucatan for Sunday into Monday, but that high is going to be strong and will drive it westbound again. I'm going to throw in a 20% for Sunday and Monday, but boy, this high is just going to be way too strong. And looking way out down the road into the end of the month and the 1st of July, we may not be finished with this connection that's coming out of South America and out of the Caribbean. So we'll watch the Gulf of Mexico for the next several weeks. I think it could stay busy down there. Okay, so real quick, hopefully this has changed for me. Yeah, Tropical Storm Alberto just now developing and looking way more symmetrical. Going to continue to move westbound, and I showed you why, because of that big upper level ridge. Going to move it out towards the west. Okay, real quick here. All right, this is what I'm expecting. Now, these computer models, you've got to use them with a grain of salt, especially with these landfalling tropical systems like this. But this is a general rule of what I think is going to happen. Rain intensity will increase overall over the next several days. Like I said before, 1.5 to 2 inches here in Bexar County. Further to the north, less. Further to the south, more. But tonight, spotty rain. Occasionally, when you see those yellow areas, those are heavy downpours, heavy tropical downpours. Not much lightning, not much thunder. And look at those reds down there around George West and Carrizo Springs for the overnight period. There might be some flood warnings issued for some of our southern and some of our southwestern counties. And Del Rio, you may just get clipped by that, by the way. And then I think we catch a little bit of a break, but notice with the heating of the day, we will have some additional tropical downpours developing. And it doesn't really look like there's going to be a whole lot of banding tomorrow, like I was saying yesterday. So that's a good thing because you get in those bands that don't stop, that's bad. And then Friday, I think more additional showers and some thunderstorms. By the time we get to Friday, that's when we might have some thunder and lightning. So here's the deal, all the way through midnight Saturday. I've been really liking this computer model here. I believe this is what they call the IBM or the graph, 1.27 inches. I would say 1 to 2 generally here in Bexar County. For some reason, it's going a lot higher in San Marcos. I don't think we'd go that high. Maybe 3/4 to an inch in the hill country, but even that I think is kind of overdoing it a little bit. Okay, let's go with the 7-day here. This is what I think. Of course, 90% chance. Really should have put 100% chance of rain. High today, lower 80s. We'll be in the upper 70s, lower 80s for the rest of this day on Juneteenth. Tomorrow, about a 60% chance of rain. It's not going to rain all day. Tomorrow is going to be a little bit more sunshine, a little more steamy. We'll reach the upper 80s, and then some showers and storms will percolate. Friday, 90 degrees for a high, and I may have to up that to more like a 40% chance on Friday. And then as we head into the weekend, I think that high reestablishes itself. It gets hot. Maybe a 20% chance Sunday and Monday with the next tropical system that makes landfall into Mexico. This one, the high is going to be stronger, so less of a chance for rain, I think. The thing to look out for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday is heat index values anywhere from 101 to 105. We may be getting close to heat advisory criteria as we head into the beginning of next week. All right. Well, I didn't answer all the questions, but really appreciate you streaming with us. I've got to go run. I got to go do the noon show. Make sure and watch us 4, 5, 6, and 10 tonight, and I'll be back tomorrow morning. All right, thank you so much. Have a great day, and we'll see you later.